Okay, so let's begin sitting up on the knees. So if this doesn't feel good, you can sit with your ankles crossed instead. You can take pillows or anything you'd like to put underneath you. If you don't want to do either of them, child's pose is option number 3. And again, if it's just not fitting your mood, this is always, for every time you practice, not just now, there's an intention for the first pose that we do, but it's more important that you find a place where you can be pretty comfortable. So we'll be here for maybe a minute. Go ahead and let your eyes rest and take a couple of breaths. And then imagine your lungs existed at your lower back. Maybe they started at the bottom of the pelvis and they stopped at the bottom of the rib cage. So this is mostly an exercise of imagination, of course, but if you imagine your lungs exist in that area, notice what it does to what you feel. The benefits might just be because you're bringing your attention to that place. And if there's one thing that yoga teaches us over and over again, it's to notice where our attention goes, and maybe to intend a little bit more, to direct more carefully that attention. But right now, just in the body, just in your lower back, and if you're in child's pose, you might shift side to side some. If you're sitting up, you might tilt your pelvis in different ways. Side bend a couple times, moving your rib cage. So again, you're adding a little bit of movement, but the purpose of the movement, just like the purpose of imagining your lungs existed there, was to notice how your lower back feels. And then forget imagining your lungs just existed in your lower back, but imagine now they existed for the entirety of your torso. Your lungs started at the bottom of the pelvis and stopped at the shoulders. And take a big, big breath in. Take a couple more sips when you get to the top, and then maybe another sip after that, and hold the breath. And let it go. One more time. Big, big, big breath in. Take another couple sips. So breathe in as much as you possibly can. Even take another couple of sips and then hold the breath. And as you hold your breath, relax your belly and your waist and your lower back. And let the breath go. And if you'd like to begin with Ujjayi breath or more slow rhythmic breathing, feel free. We're going to make our way onto hands and knees. You could even do forearms and knees if you felt like it. So while we'll be moving the entirety of the back, let's just focus on the pelvis right now and how movement of the pelvis affects the lower back. So when you're ready to, and feel free to close your eyes if it helps you concentrate. Take a breath in and lift your sit bones up. So we're doing that anterior tilt in the pelvis, like when you're trying to encourage the curve in your lower back. But don't go into the rest of cow pose, right? Just lift your butt up towards the ceiling and see what you feel. And then when you're ready, do the opposite, do that posterior tilt. So tuck your tailbone. You don't have to go into cat pose, just tuck the tailbone and see what you feel. Feel like you're trying to move the front of the pelvis towards the belly button. And then do neither. So don't tuck the tailbone or lift it very high. And then feel like you could take the right side of your pelvis, breathe in, and when you exhale, move the right side of the pelvis towards the right side of the rib cage, and just see how your lower back feels. Go ahead and bring your pelvis back to neutral, and then left side of the pelvis towards the left side of the rib cage. See how your lower back feels. And back to neutral. We're gonna do all that one more time. Sit bones up. Notice your breath, how your lower back feels. Tuck the tailbone. Front of the pelvis moves towards the belly button. And then neutral back, right hip towards right ribs. And neutral back, left hip, left ribs. Neutral back. So we're gonna do that again, but this time, walk your hands a little bit further forward. So if you were to shift your weight into your hands, which I'd like for you to do, you'll end up in plank pose. This means a lot of the musculature of your center is having to work just a little bit more here. So let's lift the sit bones again. Lift the sit bones, look forward, and see how your lower back feels. Front of the pelvis to navel. Again, lean forward into your hands, see how your lower back feels. Neutral back, right hip to right rib cage. You might feel like you're trying to shift your right knee forward. Notice your breath. Neutral pelvis, and then left hip to left side of the rib cage. Neutral pelvis. Now when you're ready, shift your weight back in space, but keep your hands really far forward. Inhale, lift your sit bones, like cow pose, but then go ahead and lift your chest some, look forward, and slowly, so your spine is moving towards that hyperextension that is cow pose. Slowly maintain that hyperextension, but bring your weight into your hands, lean forward, and then shift your weight back into your heels. And now bring your spine into cat pose, so tuck your tailbone, arc your back, feel like you can move your shoulder blades away from each other, drop your head, and then shift your weight into your hands. So you're in cat pose, but your knees are still far away from your hands. Let's try that again. Bring your back to neutral, release, relax your hips, relax everything. Hands very far away from the knees still. Inhale, lift your sit bones, lift your chest, look forward. Again, think cow pose. And then lean your weight into your hands. Notice your breath here. You can just hold it. Sit bones are up. You might have to take your belly in a little if that feels better, but you don't have to. Only take your belly in if it feels better to do so. And then push your hips back in space. Notice your breath. And let's tuck under. So again, we're in cat pose. And when you shift your weight forward into your hands, you might find because your hands are so far away from the knees in this cat pose, that it feels a little different on your back. Move the front of the pelvis very much towards the belly button. Drop your head, breathe. And then shift back. So what we're gonna do now is flow. When you're ready, inhale, lift your sit bones, sternum and chest, lean forward into your hands. And then exhale, keep your tush really high, but then lean back into your heels. Drop your head, inhale, and then exhale, tuck your tailbone under, think like cat pose, lean forward into your hands. And then lean back into your heels. So let's try a little bit faster. Inhale, lift your sit bones, lift your chest, look up, lean into your hands. Exhale, lean into your heels. Round your back like cat pose, breathing in. Lean into your hands. Lean into your heels. Now, keep on going. If you want to, you can just kind of forget the more strict mechanics of it and just let your spine kind of flow a little. So you're not making absolutely positive you breathe at a certain time, or you're in cat pose or cow pose at a certain time. You just kind of play with this sort of mobility in your back and look for sweet spots. It's basically like you're doing cat-cow poses, except you're leaning forward and back into your heels and into your hands. And then stay leaning into your heels, child's pose. Release the tops of the feet to the floor. Come onto the left forearm. And then come onto the right fingertips. Lift your right elbow up and just look over your right shoulder. Now from here, see how your back feels, right? See if you can squeeze your legs in towards each other. Maybe they can touch. Place your left elbow to the floor. Bring your right palm on top of your left palm. Take a breath in. And when you breathe out, press your palms together. Turn your chest to the right. See how your back feels. Now go ahead and take that left elbow and put it in between your thighs. Press your elbow into your legs. Lift your chest. Notice how your left waist feels, how your back feels. And then go ahead and sit up all the way up. Bend your elbows out into that goal pose or cactus shape. Squeeze your legs in towards each other and twist, twist, twist to the right. Breathe in. And then exhale, straighten your arms. Keep twisting. Inhale, come on back to center. Exhale, hands and knees. So now the wrists are again under the shoulders. Standard cat-cow poses. Lift your sit bones, your sternum, and your face. And exhale, tuck under. And inhale, lift. And exhale, tuck under. Keep going. And then let's add just a little bit more. Pause, bring your back to neutral. Take your right hip towards your right shoulder, and then take your right shoulder towards your right hip. So that's lateral flexion, the side bend. But then as you laterally flex, as you move your hip, bend your rib cage, and even your ear, your right ear, all close together, go ahead and lift your sit bones a little bit. Lift your chest a little bit. You're still side bending. You might even lift your face some. See how that feels in your back. There might be some stuff you don't like. That's what we're looking for. There might be stuff that you really do like. That's equally what we're looking for. So go ahead and keep that side bend over to the right and then tuck your tailbone. Let your head drop. Keep side bending, noticing what you feel. And then neutral back, look forward. Breathe in. Breathe out, left hip, left rib cage, even left ear, all shift close together. Keep breathing. Lift your sit bones. Keep that side bend. So keep moving your hip and your rib cage close, but lift your sit bones and your sternum and your face a little. Breathe. Keep that side bend. Tuck under some. Keep feeling like you're trying to move your left hip and left side of the rib cage towards each other. And then inhale, lengthen your back, look forward. Exhale, let your hips drop towards your heels. Press your right forearm to the floor. Come onto your left fingertips. You can settle your left arm back wherever you want to. And just squeeze your legs in towards each other. Turn your chest to the left for an exhale. Now place your right elbow to the floor. Bring your left palm to your right palm. Press your palms into each other. Twist for an exhale. Bring your right elbow on top of or maybe nestled in between the knees, the legs. And then press your palms into each other again. Twist to the left. Start to squeeze your legs in even more. Sit up, separate your hands, bring your elbows out like a cactus, like a W, and twist even more. Open the arms out to a T, maybe twist a little deeper. And back to center. Come onto the elbows and walk your knees back in space. When you're ready, with your hips kind of close to the floor, press down with your forearms. And then slowly lift up with your knees. Breathe in, and when you breathe out, lower your right hip point towards the floor, and then inhale, lift it. Exhale, left hip point towards the floor, and then lift it. Right, and up. Left, and up. One more of each. And then go ahead and lift your heels. Keep your back basically neutral, so not too high, not too low. Not side bend, not back bend. And then take your heels forward and back. 2 more times. Forward, really far forward, really far back. 1 more time. And then release your knees and your pelvis and your belly to the floor. When you're ready to, reach the arms back in space, turn the palms down. So the thumbs are going to face out, palms face down, taps the feet to the floor. When you're ready, lift your shoulders. And then pushing your hands down some, see if you can lift your chest up a little bit. And just see how that feels in your lower back. And then go ahead and lift your right leg up. And exhale it down. Follow your breath. Left leg up. and down. See how your lower back feels, right? Lift your chest. Right leg up, doesn't have to lift high. And down. Left leg up. And down. One more time. Now flip your fingertips to face forward. You can walk them farther forward if you want to. And inhale, lift your chest a little bit higher. Keep your pelvis down. Drop your shoulder blades down the back and see how you feel. Inhale. And exhale, pull yourself gently forward and down. Make your way up to hands and knees. And then from there into plank pose. So lift your knees up, drop your heels over to the left. Inhale, lift your hips high. And then exhale, let them lower just a couple inches. Inhale, lift them. Exhale, lower them a couple inches. Lift them. Roll your heels up off the floor. Drop the heels over to the right. Lift that left hip up. Lower it a little. Lift it some. Lower it a little. Lift it some. Lift your heels. Downward dog. Now walk either your hands to your feet or your feet to your hands, whatever you'd like, and fold forward. Take a breath in, place the hands to the legs, lift your back up some, look forward. Exhale, fold. And after you fold, you're going to straighten your right leg and bend your left knee, noticing how that kind of swings the torso over to the right a little bit. And you're going to let that happen. The left knee is bent, the right leg is pretty straight. You might even roll onto the pinky toe side of the foot. Drop your head and slowly keep letting your torso move to the right. Slowly start rolling up to stand. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Your torso is still shifting to the right until you're basically all the way up to stand. And then you can find more of a mountain pose alignment. And when you're ready, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, take your arms back and your chest up. Exhale, maybe go back a little bit more. Hold on to the floor with your feet. Now inhale here, and then exhale, straighten your arms, reach arms towards the floor. Bend the elbows. Lift your chest up, reach your arms towards the floor. Lift your chest. Hold on the floor with your feet. Bend your elbows. Reach your hands down and back. And then sit up. Inhale, reach for the ceiling, and exhale, dive forward. Take a breath. So we're going to let the right knee bend a lot and the left knee straighten a lot. That action alone will probably let your torso shift over to the left, and you'll let that happen even more. So take your torso as far over to the left as feels good. Hold on to the floor with your left heel and slowly take a couple of cycles of breath to do it. Slowly stacking vertebra on top of vertebra in a wacky way, right? Because we're not totally lined up. Until eventually you find your rib cage is starting to stack over your pelvis, and then you can align your shoulders and your head for more of a mountain pose type shape. When you're ready to, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, breathe in, and exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, hold on with your feet, straighten your legs a bit, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, reach your hands up, this time straighten your arms by reaching up and back. Bend the elbows, maybe they snug in towards the waist. Straighten the arms. Bend. With the breath, straighten. Active legs, bend the arms. Straighten the arms. And then stand up and release your arms by your sides. So this asana you might like to do up against a wall. I'll demonstrate against a wall if you don't want to, or if you don't have time, that's okay. You're going to have your left hip either on the wall or in the air, and you're going to lift your left knee up. So maybe the knee's on the wall. Grab onto your left leg, with your right hand. Whether or not it's on the wall, stand really tall and then turn your chest to the left. Now, if you were using a wall, you'd put your left hand to the wall. You might even put both hands to the wall and just gently press your left hand into the wall. Press your left hip gently into the wall. And breathe. And of course, if you're not using a wall, you'll be working on balance. Both are fantastic. I would say to play with both. Do the one that suits you for the day. And come on back to center, releasing your foot. And we'll switch sides. So the right knee's up, with or without the wall. Knee about hip height. You can play with that too. You can have your knee higher and lower to see what feels best in your back on the day. And then shift your torso over to the right. So you might get very close to the wall. Right hand can be on the wall, left hand can be on the wall or the leg. And breathe. So your hip is on the wall if you're using a wall. Your right hand presses into the wall. The left hip might also shift back a little bit, like your lower back is facing the wall behind you, and your upper back is facing another wall, a different wall. Come on back to center, release your foot down. When you're ready to, take your arms, just kind of dangle them by your sides, and do, without controlling it, because your arms might flap around, do a little bit of a twist. Oh, I know this seems silly, but it feels good. And if you've got room for it, even if you have to come off of your mat, twist a little bit more. Let your arms kind of flop around. So mobility and strength are both, as you know, right, as we always know, are equally important and useful. But the body, you can stop now, benefits very, very well from all different ways of moving. And it's often prioritizing one over another that can lead to some issues. That means even fast, even sloppy movement that we're calling sloppy just because we don't do it very often, but stuff like that our body is meant to be able to do, to flail around like that. So anytime you want to shake it out, like right now, you can. And I think it's particularly important to do that stuff for our back when we're sitting a lot. Shake it out, move around, shrug it off. So let's fold forward. Don't control, just fold forward. Trust that your back knows how to get you through space. And just again, look for the things that feel really good. Drop your head. Straighten your right leg, let your torso shift over to the right, and then roll up to stand, stacking vertebra on top of vertebra, and eventually mountain pose. Lift your arms, look up, and dive forward. Lean into your left leg, find your breath, right leg can bend a lot, and then roll up to stand. Lift your arms, look up, and dive forward. One more time, lean to the right, roll up to stand. Left leg is really bent, torso's all the way shifted to the right until you stand up. Arms up, fold forward. Lean into your left leg, straighten it, roll up to stand. Arms up, and this time dive forward. Take a breath in, lift your back up, some look forward, and step back onto hands and knees. When you're ready to, take your left leg back and your right arm forward and breathe here. When you're ready, inhale. And then exhale, release your right hand. Shift your right foot over to the side so you make a kickstand with your leg. So right foot goes over to the right. And then spin your left leg up. Lift that left foot. Reach your left arm overhead. And when you're ready, you're going to lift your foot and your arm quite a bit. And then you're going to lower them down, lifting your left rib cage. Lift your arm, lift your leg. Lower them down, lift your left rib cage. Lift your arm, lift your leg. And then go ahead and put your knee to the floor, put your hand to the floor. Hands and knees, take your right leg up. And your left arm up. And breathe here. Push the floor away. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Now go ahead and lower your left hand Shift your lower left leg over to the left side. It's going to help with balance. And then turn your chest to face the wall to the right. Lift your right leg up, reach your right arm alongside your right ear. Now see what it feels like to lift the leg and lift the arm a little bit higher. And then lower your foot some and reach your right arm towards the wall in front of you, and then maybe even towards the floor. Lift the right side of the ribcage so high. And then lift your arm, lift your leg. Lower your arm, lower your leg. Lifting through the right side of the ribcage. And then go ahead and spin your right hand to the floor. Lower your right knee to the floor. And from here, just a few times, you're going to make 3 circles with your ribs. With your ribs, yeah, but also with your shoulders and your hips. 3 circles in one direction, as big as you want. And 3 circles in the other direction, as big as you want. And eventually, find your way into child's pose. Child's pose with the knees together often feels really sweet on the back. Knees apart can feel good on the hips. This is where we are resting until we're finished. So if you don't want to stay here and would rather go into Shavasana, feel free, or sit up, feel free. But watch where your mind goes and intentionally draw your attention, draw your focus, even if it doesn't seem genuine yet. Draw your focus towards a mantra, even if it's just one word. Kind of set the tone for the rest of your day. And just keep softly, like an echo in the background, just hearing that repeat. You can stay here for as long as you like. Thank you very much.